A bird that walks across water without sinking. A parrot too fat to fly that sings like a subwoofer through 3 miles of forest. An eagle with claws the size of a grizzly bear's. These are not creatures from a fantasy movie. They are alive right now, breathing on this planet, hiding in jungles, frozen wastelands, and forgotten islands most humans will never visit. One of them was officially declared extinct for over 50 years before walking back into existence like a ghost. Another one literally sews leaves together using thread and a needle. And the most disturbing of all, a bird that kills cobras by kicking them to death on live camera. Join us and let's discover the most incredible birds on the planet. Let's go.
Number 13. King Vulture. Forget everything you think you know about vultures. This one looks like nature took every bright color in the paint box and dumped it on a single head. The king vulture has a featherless skull splashed with yellow, orange, red, and deep purple, like a tropical sunset stained into skin. Right above its hooked beak rises a strange fleshy knob, like a crown welded to its face. Its wingspan stretches nearly 6 feet, wider than the height of a tall man. But here is where it gets dark. While other vultures circle and wait, the king vulture dominates the carcass. Its beak is so powerful it can tear through thick hide that no other scavenger can break. Jaguars, cattle, even crocodile skin, it rips them open like wet paper. In the rainforests of Central and South America, smaller vultures actually wait for the king to arrive because only it can open the meal. Ancient Mayans believed this bird carried messages between humans and the gods, and they carved its face into temple walls, a flying messenger painted in blood and fire. But the next bird hunts in a way no eagle on earth would dare to copy.
Number 12. African Jacana. Imagine watching a bird walk across the surface of a lake without sinking, not flying, not splashing, walking. The African jacana has long, spider-thin toes that distribute its weight across floating lily pads, turning fragile leaves into solid sidewalks. About 10 inches long, with chestnut feathers, a black head, and a bright blue bill that looks painted on. But the truly shocking part is the family system. The female is bigger, stronger, and collects multiple husbands like trophies. The males do absolutely everything. They build the nest, they sit on the eggs, they raise the chicks completely alone. And when a predator appears, the father pulls the babies under his wings and literally runs across the water carrying them, with tiny chick legs sticking out from under his feathers. Picture your father sprinting across a swimming pool with you tucked under his armpit. That is the jacana every single day. Scientists call this reversed parental investment, and the jacana takes it further than almost any other bird on the planet. A creature that flipped both gravity and parenting in one shot. Yet the next bird hides a far weirder secret inside its own digestive system.
Only 1% of people know the dark truth behind what we are about to show you next. If you want to be part of the few who actually know what's happening in the world, subscribe and leave a like right now. Done? Look at this.
Number 11. Hoatzin. This bird smells like rotting cattle and digests food like a cow. The Hoatzin is the closest thing to a living dinosaur still breathing on Earth. Glowing red eyes, a spiky punk-style crest, a long, awkward tail. Locals nicknamed it the stink bird because its body ferments leaves in a massive crop filled with bacteria, producing a sour swamp smell so strong you can sense it from yards away. But the chicks are where the story breaks reality. Baby Hoatzins are born with real working claws on their tiny wings. Yes, claws. When a predator attacks the nest hanging over the Amazon water, the chick leaps into the river below, swims to safety, and then climbs back up the tree using its wing claws like a feathered reptile. This trait was thought to exist only in ancient fossils like Archaeopteryx, the famous dinosaur bird from 150 million years ago. The Hoatzin is evolution caught mid-transformation, somehow frozen in time inside the Amazon. Indigenous tribes avoid eating it because the smell is unbearable, which is probably the only reason this prehistoric weirdo has survived into the modern world. The next bird also climbs trees, but for a completely different reason that defies parrot logic.
Number 10. Takahe. For 50 years, the world believed this bird was extinct, gone, wiped from existence. Scientists wrote obituaries, encyclopedias listed it among the dead. Then, in 1948, deep in the Murchison Mountains of New Zealand, a doctor named Jeffrey Orbell stumbled face to face with one. Alive, walking, real. The Takahe came back from the grave. Nearly 25 inches tall, a massive, vivid blue body, a thick red bill like a chunk of dyed bone fused to its face. It cannot fly. Its wings are short and useless for the sky, but its legs are powerful tanks built for alpine meadows. It uses that bill like a pair of garden shears, slicing grass stems with surgical precision. Today, only around 500 Takahe exist on the entire planet. Every single one is tracked. Every chick is logged. Armed rangers patrol the protected zones because a single predator can wipe out a generation. Imagine a bird so rare that humans literally know its life story personally, with names, family trees, and medical files. The Takahe is living proof that nature sometimes hides its survivors in places we forgot to look. A corpse that climbed out of its own coffin. Yet the next bird almost did the opposite, surviving in plain sight while looking impossibly alien.
Number 9. Kiwi. Round body, soft feathers that feel like animal fur. Wings so tiny you cannot even see them under the plumage. Meet the kiwi, a creature so weird that biologists still argue about how it works mechanically. About the size of a chicken, but built like absolutely nothing else alive on Earth. Its bill is nearly 4 inches long, and here comes the twist. Its nostrils are located at the very tip of the beak. The kiwi literally sniffs the ground while walking, hunting worms by scent alone. No other bird in the world hunts this way. It is nocturnal, nearly blind, and stumbles through New Zealand forests like a furry potato with a snorkel attached to its face. But the real horror is reproduction. The female lays an egg that weighs nearly 20% of her own body weight. Picture a 150-pound woman giving birth to a 30-pound newborn. That is the kiwi every single time. The egg is so massive it physically deforms her internal organs while she carries it. She can barely walk in the final days before laying. Strange, ancient, and biologically broken in the most beautiful way possible. The next bird also lives in New Zealand, but it broke an even stranger rule of nature.
Number 8. Kakapo. A parrot, but obese. A parrot, but it cannot fly. A parrot, but it sounds like a subwoofer from another dimension. The kakapo is the world's only flightless parrot, weighing up to 9 pounds, which is heavier than a large house cat. It lives only in protected sanctuaries of New Zealand, where it climbs trees like a chubby mountaineer and waddles through moss-covered forest floors at night. Here is where it gets surreal. Male kakapos hold acoustic concerts during breeding season. They dig out a bowl-shaped pit in the ground that acts as a natural amplifier, then release deep bass booms that travel up to 3 miles through the forest. The sound is so low and powerful, it physically shakes the air like a stadium subwoofer. Females hear it and walk for miles to find the singer. But the kakapo has a tragic flaw. It is too trusting. When predators approach, it freezes instead of running, a defense useless against rats and stoats brought by humans. Today, only 247 kakapos exist in the entire world. Each one has a personal name, an ID code, a medical file, and even a documented personality. They are individually known to science like celebrities. The next bird is just as rare, but it could rip your skull open in seconds.
Number 7. Harpy eagle. This is not a bird. This is a flying war machine engineered by nature. The harpy eagle has talons nearly 5 inches long, the exact same length as the claws of a grown grizzly bear. When it sits on a branch, it looks like something pulled straight out of a prehistoric horror movie. A massive gray chest, coal-black wings, a spiked crown of feathers that rises like a war helmet the instant it locks onto prey. With a wingspan over 6 feet, this eagle silently glides through the Amazon canopy and strikes with such crushing force that it can snatch full-grown sloths, monkeys, and even other large birds in a single dive. It can carry up to 15 pounds in its talons. That is the weight of a medium-sized dog being lifted off the ground and crushed mid-flight by claws stronger than a Rottweiler's bite. Indigenous tribes in South America have feared and worshipped this bird for thousands of years. They call it the ruler of the canopy. Unlike other eagles, the harpy does not soar in open sky. It hunts in tight spaces, weaving between trees at full speed with deadly surgical precision. A jungle assassin built like a tank. Yet the next bird kills its prey using a hunting technique that no other animal copies. Number 6. Secretary bird. Forget diving from the sky like every other eagle. This bird stomps snakes to death on live ground. The secretary bird stands 4 feet tall on legs like stilts, with a 7-foot wingspan and black feathers behind its head that resemble old-fashioned writing quills tucked behind a clerk's ears. That is exactly where the name came from. But there is absolutely nothing peaceful about this creature. It walks calmly across the African savanna scanning the grass, and when it spots a venomous snake, it does not fly away. It attacks on foot. The secretary bird unleashes a series of lightning-fast kicks with crushing force that shatters the snake's skull in seconds. Slow-motion cameras revealed that each kick delivers an impact 5 times the bird's own body weight. Cobras, black mambas, puff adders, vipers, none of them stand a chance. Each strike lasts only 15 milliseconds, faster than the human eye can register or a blink can complete. It is like watching a feathered martial artist execute a perfect roundhouse kick on the deadliest enemy in Africa. While every other bird relies on beaks and talons, the secretary bird turned its legs into precision weapons. Yet the next bird invented an even crazier strategy that uses physics itself as a kitchen tool.
Number 5. Bearded vulture. Most vultures eat rotting meat. This one eats bones. Pure, solid bones. Up to 90% of its diet is raw skeleton, and no other vertebrate on Earth survives mostly on bone. The bearded vulture has figured out a trick no other bird on the planet uses. It grabs a thick bone with its talons, climbs more than 200 feet into the sky, and then drops it onto sharp rocks below, shattering the bone into edible fragments like a hammer breaking glass. Then it lands and casually swallows the pieces whole. Its 9-foot wingspan and razor-sharp wedge tail make it look like a flying scythe across the cliffs of Europe, Africa, and Asia. But here comes the truly disturbing part. Its chest feathers are stained blood red. Not from prey, not from injury. The bearded vulture deliberately bathes in iron-rich red dust and clay, deliberately painting itself like a warrior preparing for battle. Scientists believe it is a status symbol among the species. The redder the vulture, the more dominant it appears to rivals. So this bird grinds skeletons using the sky itself and decorates its body with iron makeup like a tribal warlord. Yet the next bird survives in conditions so brutal they would kill almost any other warm-blooded creature in hours. Number 4. Rock hopper penguin. This penguin does not waddle, it hops, like an angry punk rocker on jagged razor cliffs. The rock hopper lives on the brutal islands of the South Atlantic, where ocean waves smash into rocks with the force of small explosions. Other animals would die trying to survive there for a single week. The rock hopper thrives in it. Only 22 inches tall, but with the attitude of a heavy metal singer.
Bright yellow feathered eyebrows shoot from its head like wild rebel hair. Red glowing eyes, a constant glare locked on the world. Instead of carefully walking like a normal penguin, rockhoppers leap from boulder to boulder with both feet pressed together, sometimes jumping gaps wider than their entire body length. Their breeding colonies are deafening chaos. Thousands of birds screaming, fighting, stealing pebbles, body slamming each other for territory. It sounds like a punk concert mixed with a fish market explosion. In the water, they transform into living torpedoes, hitting speeds of 15 miles per hour while hunting krill and squid through frozen currents. They survive freezing waters, broken cliffs, and constant storms while looking permanently furious. Yet the next bird endures conditions even more extreme, in a place humans can barely survive for an hour without specialized gear.
In a frozen hell of -40 degrees Fahrenheit, the emperor penguin performs the single most insane act of endurance in the entire animal kingdom. Males stand motionless for 2 full months on the Antarctic ice, holding a single egg balanced on top of their feet, covering it with a flap of warm belly skin called a brood pouch. No food, no shelter, no daylight, just brutal screaming wind and pure darkness for 60 straight days. They lose nearly half their body weight in the process. To survive, thousands of penguins form massive huddles, packing together like a single warm organism, slowly rotating in coordinated waves so every individual takes a turn in the freezing outer edge and the warm center. It works like a living, breathing furnace, organized without a single spoken signal. They are the largest penguins on Earth, standing 45 inches tall and weighing 90 pounds, with regal black and white bodies decorated by golden patches along the neck. In the ocean, they dive deeper than any other bird, plunging over 1,800 feet below the surface, holding their breath for nearly 22 minutes in pitch-black icy darkness. The next bird is much smaller, but performs an act so impossible it sounds completely fictional. King of Saxony, bird of paradise. From the head of this bird grow 2 extraordinary feather wires that are longer than its entire body. We are talking about feathers reaching nearly 20 inches long, sprouting straight out of its skull like alien antennas. Along each wire are perfectly spaced sky blue plates that look exactly like tiny enameled flags. The body itself is fairly small, only about 9 inches long, black and yellow, almost ordinary. But those 2 head wires turn the bird into one of the strangest creatures on Earth. During courtship, the male performs a bizarre dance, moving each feather wire independently, almost like a conductor leading an invisible orchestra. The motion is so precise and unnatural that early European explorers in the 1800s refused to believe the bird was real, accusing taxidermists of gluing the feathers on as a hoax. When the first specimens reached London, museums declared them fraudulent for decades. Today, the bird remains hidden in the misty mountain forests of New Guinea, performing its mechanical dance for tiny audiences of females. Evolution somehow built radio antennas into a living animal, yet the next creature does something even harder to believe, mastering a human skill long before humans even existed on this planet.
A common tailor bird. A bird that sews. Not metaphorically, literally sews with thread and a needle, like a tailor in a clothing shop. Meet the common tailor bird, only 5 inches long, a tiny greenish creature you would walk past without noticing on any garden path. But this bird is performing the most precise piece of handcraft in the entire animal kingdom. The female searches the forest for 2 large leaves growing close together on a single branch. Then she gathers plant fibers or actual spider silk and shapes them into thread. Using her sharp, pointed beak as a needle, she pierces tiny matching holes along the edges of both leaves, threads the silk through, and pulls it tight. To stop the thread from slipping out, she flares the end of the fiber on the other side, creating a tiny rivet, exactly like the buttons holding your jeans together. She repeats this stitching dozens of times until the leaves seal into a closed, living pocket. Then she builds a soft nest inside this envelope. Each hole is measured. Each stitch is reinforced. No tools, no teacher, no instructions. Just pure instinct burning inside a creature smaller than your hand. This bird invented sewing millions of years before humans crafted the first needle from bone, and she does it perfectly every single time.
If you thought this was terrifying, you are not ready for what they found in the video on your screen. Click it right now. The truth is worse than you think.